welcome, friends, to today's episode of the EventsDemystified podcast, the Year in Review. I'm Anca Trifan, your host, and this episode is all about revisiting some of the most impactful conversations that we've had in 2024, from AI-driven innovation to unforgettable stories from the front line of event production, event management, event technology. We've covered a lot this year across 3 different seasons, and I'm super stoked to take a walk down the memory lane and bring all of those amazing conversations to the forefront. So, whether you're tuning in, I don't know, during your coffee break, maybe on your way to a gig or on a walk because you do care about your mental health or whatever it is that you're doing, I hope that I can join you so we can have this heart to heart conversation about some of the things that we talked during 2024. And I do hope that this episode will feel insightful, but also inspiring if for some reason you miss some of those conversations. So you can go back and revisit them. And also, inspires you to think about some of the things that we talked about and maybe implement them into your event, into your business, into your life. And with that, let's get us started.
Welcome to the Events Demystified podcast, where we demystify the world of in-person, virtual, and hybrid events, AV production, and AI technology by sharing practical tips, tricks, and strategies to help your event succeed. This podcast is brought to you by Trifan Events, a woman-owned boutique event production agency that caters to event professionals, small business owners, and entrepreneurs. We specialize in AV and AI education, integration, automation, and implementation, all based on our Fit for Events framework, which focuses on futuristic AV production, innovative AI technology, thriving audiences, and empowering behind-the-scenes teams. And your host, Anca Trifan, with over 2 decades of hands-on experience in event production, event management, and now AI technologies and cybersecurity.
Now, before I get into the podcast specific milestones and accomplishments, as we approach the end of the year on a personal and professional note, I've taken some time to reflect on what a whirlwind 2024 has been, filled with adventures, milestones, and also a major professional stride. So here's a snapshot of the year that was for me personally. This year, I took 18 trips and 1 international, which took me to some incredible destinations, including for the first time, the Bahamas, Mexico, and Alaska. That was quite the experience. Also, being in places like Miami, Key West, Portland, Austin, Denver, Los Angeles, obviously Las Vegas, Salt Lake City, Phoenix, and many, many more. I've also launched 3 podcast seasons, and that was 27 episodes, from exploring the evolution of AI in events in season 8 to celebrating our 5-year podcast anniversary in July to the community driven Event About It series, season 9 with Megan Martin. And then we also launched the forward looking Beyond AI season 10, which is ongoing right now. And all of this has been such an incredible ride. We have such a diverse range of conversations as well as speakers. And I'm going to dive into that a little bit later today. I've also spoke 21 times, not even counting the very many podcast guest appearances. And those times were at conferences, presented on AI, workshops, AV, wellness, sharing insights and tips, as well as secrets of the trade. Also published my first ebook, Mastering ChatGPT. I've deployed 4 multi-course AI bootcamps, 2 multi-week AI courses, and hosted several live streamings of different AI workshops, helping businesses and event professionals embrace and thrive with AI. I've actually ended up pitching for 26 speaking engagement, and I was accepted in 21. Now, That is a testament to the relevance of integrating AI, wellness, and AV production, as well as innovative event strategies into those conversations. I've also launched the Fit for Events framework at the beginning of the year and the Fit Mindful Maven platform on LinkedIn, which is very much focused on empowering professionals with well-being, fitness, wellness strategies, and tactical tools to succeed in this quite chaotic event industry of ours. I've made a major career shift as well, proudly joining MAIW as their senior manager strategic partnerships, event technology and AI, diving deeper into strategic leadership and innovation. This is a growth opportunity for me, and I'm super excited about it. So, all in all, it's been really a year of growth, of challenges, and exciting new directions. One thing that I haven't done this year, even though it was kind of part of the plan, but that ended up not being part of the plan, is competing in bodybuilding. Beginning of the year, I was thinking that I might have a competition in November, but as November came closer and closer, I switched my strategy and I just wanted to focus on building for next year, for 2025. So stay tuned. I'm pretty sure that I'm going to have more updates on that. I want 2025 to be the year where I'm really bringing a completely different package to the stage. And this year has been a day in, day out grinding for that, because I operated and I took every single workout like I was going to compete this year. So did not miss one opportunity to improve my physical, my mental, my emotional well-being, as well as my nutrition, and just staying disciplined and staying with the program. And that has paid some amazing dividends. I was looking at some pictures from last year to this year and the progress. You know, sometimes you don't see the progress when you're just looking day in, day out in the mirror, same day, same way. And unless you step back and see that whole year of progress, that's it when you can see how far you've come. And for me, it was one of those, oh my gosh, I can't believe what a difference 1 year of being intentional, of being dedicated, of sticking to the plan and sticking to your goals can really make. So I hope that encourages you, whatever goal you might have, to just be consistent and stick with it. And you'll be surprised when you come back a year later and look at the progress, and you'll see that changing and going up. Progress, some people think that is just going up, right? But really, on a micro level, it's more like this, like go up and down, up and down, up and down. But consistently, if you can grow and consistently just keep going upwards, that to me is progress. That to me is growth. So I hope that encourages you, whatever it is that you're pursuing, to stay with it, be consistent, and also find balance for something that will give you the opportunity to just stick with it without giving up. And for me, I had to establish a lot of boundaries on some of the things that I don't want to take away from this consistency, from this dedication, from this desire to pursue the goals that I have. So all in all, it's definitely been a year of growth. As I said, a lot of challenges, but also a lot of exciting new directions. And as I look ahead to 2025, I'm so grateful for the new opportunities. I'm so grateful for the connections and the friendships and the incredible community that made it all possible. So here's to an even more impactful year ahead. All right, so let's start our year review with season 8, which was titled The Evolution of AI in Events. And the season was packed with a variety of insights featuring some of the brightest minds in the event industry who are really pioneering the use of AI for events and for business. So we kicked off the season with Ike Sinkehal in January of 2024, and that was all about trends in AI and B2B marketing. Ike gave us a roadmap for how AI is shaping targeted marketing strategies, audience engagement, and even content personalization in B2B events. And if you go back and listen, you will see that he was not far fetched from the direction that we're going. He was very strong on AI agents. And while we're still working on those AI agents, and I feel like the industry is definitely dipping their toes into what that might look like for our daily workflows. That is the direction that ChatGPT is going to. Microsoft has announced that at their latest conference, and Google is going that direction. Everybody is really pushing towards AI agents. Next, we had Steve Mudd that joined us to discuss AI in the creative process, which was quite a fascinating conversation about balancing AI-driven insights with the irreplaceable human touch. And Steve was right on point because while AI can handle a lot of the repetitive tasks and can streamline workflows, creativity and storytelling and the emotional impact that being human has on all of that is so very important. It has to be at the center of everything that we create leveraging AI. In a more tactical episode, then I shared my thoughts on mastering event production, high value event production for events on a budget. And I outlined specific strategies for maximizing the impact of your dollar without blowing up your budget, but also while designing experiences that are still impactful and don't look, cheap and don't look like you went the DIY version. AV solutions are still such an impactful way to create event experiences that use creative lighting and staging design to really stretch not just your budget, but really create an impact for your events without sacrificing quality. So that was really the point of that episode. And that was actually based on a talk that I gave at Kirasource conference in Austin. Next, one of our most engaging live episodes during that season was celebrating Women International Day with a discussion on the struggles and the achievements of women in the event industry, but also in business. That episode was all about reminding us how resilience, talent, power, and all the beautiful characteristics that women professionals bring to our industry, and why inclusivity should be a core principle of everything that we do. We then shifted gears with Dani Stefanik to dive into the future of events. Dani really took us on a journey through the metaverse and the virtual reality and the emerging role of AI in crafting immersive experiences. And I'll be honest, that conversation was fascinating. But at the same time, on the same token, I don't see our industry there yet. Like, we're still not there yet. We're not ready to embrace this metaverse. And I feel like that has had a really good try, especially during COVID. But looking ahead, I don't know, maybe AI is going to change a whole lot of that. But really understanding how technology is being used in a way that doesn't take away from our humanity is very important. And possibly 5 years from now, that will be a more of a reality than what I see us right now in this point in time. Then we talked about personal branding with Leanne Calderwood. Leanne is all about sharing essential insights into building a brand, your personal brand, especially if you're in the event industry. And then we also explore AI tools that are becoming more accessible. And she explained how to leverage them to really amplify your personal brand, making yourself visible, but also relevant in a pretty crowded space. I really liked Leanne's tips on that. Next, in a conversation with Eric Rosenberg, we explored how turning event planning into a success story is a possibility. And if you do that with Eric's approach, which was quite inspiring as he broke down the business side of the events, and he shared quite a bit of tips on how you can scale up your operations while also staying true to the core values that make you and your work meaningful, there's a roadmap. So if you're curious more about that, please go back and listen to that episode. Then Shenandoah Nicholson brought an episode on corporate events, ROI, engagement, and keeping it real. I really liked her conversation on that because we discussed how companies are increasingly looking for real, measurable outcomes from their events. And Shenandoah emphasized also how AI can play a role, especially in measuring engagement and ROI and data analysis, giving event planners the data that they really need to demonstrate value and demonstrate really their worth. And our next conversation was all about event-driven investing in the age of AI with Andrew Einhorn, which was also quite eye-opening because we talked about a lot of the financial dynamics of event planning. Andrew shared how AI can be leveraged to pinpoint trends and optimize investment decisions and ultimately boost revenue and attendee engagement. Then Gianna Gaudini joined us to talk about the art of event planning, present and future. She shared her philosophy on blending creativity with structure and emphasizing how AI tools can free up planners to focus on designing memorable experiences rather than getting bogged down in logistics and spreadsheets. And we know how much event planners get bogged down in all of those spreadsheets pre, during, and especially post event when the reconciliation time comes. We also had Jeffrey Mazza join us with a very practical episode on cash flow management and AI financial planning. And we tackled the often overlooked topic of managing finances in events and event planning. Jeffrey explained how AI can help predict financial trends and keep event budgets on track, but also how to do that on a personal level and how to do that on an event level as well. Another highlight was our conversation with Comfort Arthur on animation empowerment, breaking barriers in African animation. Comfort is an amazing animator that I met at South by Southwest and we connected instantly. And the episode really highlighted how animation and digital content are becoming crucial in events because they bring stories to life and they amplify diverse voices. And then finally, in a special anniversary episode, we celebrated 5 years of Events Demystified podcast. I shared some personal reflections, key takeaways from the journey, and a sneak peek into the exciting directions that we were heading into, which was our next season, season 9. All right, so season 9 was a major turning point for us as we dove into a raw and very unfiltered side of the event industry. And then I also, for the very first time, co hosted with somebody else. This season was co hosted with Megan Martin. The original idea of Event About It was hers. And we talked about this concept way back in April when we were both attending Event Tech Live. And it sounded like such an awesome topic, such an awesome concept. So then we decided, well, how about we put it into motion? So we launched together the Event About It series, where we really unpacked the very wild, chaotic, sometimes behind the scenes stories that don't always make it to the highlight reel. Megan's candid storytelling and sharp insights brought a fresh perspective to the podcast and to the season, allowing us to connect with our audience in a real and relatable way. During one of those episodes, in an unforgettable turn of events, we tackled so many different topics, but something that's stood out to me was this power outage, the family drama, and the undervalued roles in event production, those unsung heroes who often step in to save the day, but they are very much unnoticed, yet so essential. Megan also shared her experiences from years in the industry, and we laughed a lot. We also cringed a lot over some of the stories that came true and reminded us all really how unpredictable events can be and how that is truly a very hard job, and you have to be prepared for anything. Another standout episode was where we tackled harassment, missing talent, last minute changes, somebody having a heart attack on stage. And we also discussed some of the hard truths that many event professionals face on the job, but they don't always feel like they have a platform to talk about. We brought so much fun to the season, and I also loved Megan's empathy and wisdom to the conversation. And it really made it so real that there's this human element in events, the emotional resilience, the professionalism, the quick decision making. That is something that no amount of technology, no amount of AI can really replace it. And I think this is where event professionals can really shine. And this is where we as a human race, we have a chance to stand whichever direction, no matter how far AI will develop. So keep that in mind. And if you have questions about any of those topics, they are available on demand. You can always go back and revisit them. We also went live several times with episodes like stealing tables at a VIP Super Bowl party with David Stevens and Jihan Donawa Gibson. And then we had wedding pitfalls and power outages with John Moritz and Liz Latan. All of these stories were really very practical, but also packed with humor and insights into how you can navigate the very unexpected, often chaotic challenges that in person or hybrid or virtual events really bring. We really wanted this episode to be a celebration of the people who make events happen, even when things go sideways sometimes. Another one of the season's memorable episodes that comes to mind is Paris closing ceremonies mishaps. We talked at length about the opening ceremonies, and then we also talked at length about the closing ceremonies. And we had Dawn Hope that was sharing her stories, including, as I mentioned earlier, a heart attack on stage, and also another powerful reminder of how high the stress can be and also how high the stakes can be at events. And then in Mastering Event Production, Inside Stories and Key Lessons with Chris Musgrave, we laughed and we cringed as he shared some of the hard lessons from years in the live event industry and some of the asshole fees that he adds to his contracts because of those lessons and of those stories that he's encountered in events. We also looked at transforming crisis and branding tips and tech triumphs. And then we demystified AV setup frustrations, unexpected hotel evacuations. And all of that highlighted how important is to be prepared, but also how important it is to be adaptable. And then we closed out the series with our live episode from IMAX America in Las Vegas, where Megan and I recounted, stories from the front line. And we taped that live at IMAX. We had people from the audience share their own stories. That was quite fun and insightful. We had many laughs and also, again, many, oh my gosh, rolling of eyes. I cannot believe that just happened. And then one other episode that I taped live at IMAX was a series of mini interviews where I explored AI innovations live from the show floor, giving listeners a first-hand look into how technology is shaping the future of events. Because it was quite amazing to actually see that not only AI is taking over all of the technology software out there and the technology in general, but it's also shaping the way we work, the way we look at planning events, the way we create content and agendas and experiences. So that was a get up close and personal with some of those technology leaders and find out what is the roadmap for 2025. So if you missed that episode, go back and listen to it. I have highlighted a few of those conversations. I couldn't do all of them, but it was enough to maybe give you a sneak peek into what 2025 might look like. All in all, it's been a very busy year. New tools, new experiences, new ways to elevate the event experience. And season 9 was really this celebration of resilience and grit and adaptability that event professionals really bring to the table every single day. And I couldn't have asked for a better co host than Megan Martin to make these conversations really unforgettable. And then as we launched season 10, Beyond AI, there was a clear message that I really wanted to highlight. And that was event planners who are embracing AI are no longer just experimenting, they're actually leading the way. Many event technology platforms are really very much still catching up, but planners that are comfortable with AI are really setting the pace. These planners are already using features that even some of the technology providers that I got to talk to at IMAX, they're still in beta. And to me, that was mind blowing because we talked about AI matchmaking like 2 years ago. And why are we still looking at deploying it just now in 2025? That's just a small example. So, my main takeaway from all of that was that maybe eventually by the time that tech platform launches that features, event planners are already looking for what's next. That's already old news. So there is a need to stay in step with the technology, with the advancement of AI. And as fast as AI is advancing, we have to keep mindful of that. And we can't just take a break from all of it and say, well, it's all overwhelming and I cannot keep up with it. Well, in some ways, you will have to find what works best for you to stay in step with all the changes. Because if you let too much time go by and there's too much build of latest technology and latest AI that it's happened, that's when it's going to be really challenging to catch up and get to know what is happening. And truthfully, you don't want to be replaced by AI. You really want to be the one driving the direction that AI is going towards. So that gives us obviously a lot of unique challenges, but also opportunities. Why not be relevant and pioneer this new direction that we're all going as an industry? So I guess the question for 2025 is going to be how fast can event technology platforms being truly innovative AI solutions to the table, because event planners, meeting planners like us have a very high expectation. And frankly, the clock is ticking for tech companies to deliver. So, to all of my fellow event professionals, keep pushing boundaries, keep questioning, and don't be afraid to take risks. This year, AI has really shown us new ways to measure engagement, to streamline processes and workflows, even predict attendee behavior. But it's the human stories, the real life challenges, and the unforgettable moments that make this industry truly worth it. So I hope that you don't forget that as you embrace AI, as you leverage it in your daily task and bring more of yourself to that experience. Because AI doesn't have a story, but you do. Thank you so much for joining me today and for being part of the Events Demystified podcast throughout 2024. If you enjoyed today's episode, if you enjoyed all the previous episodes that we aired this year, please subscribe, rate, leave a podcast review. It truly does help us reach more event professionals, more solopreneurs, entrepreneurs, small business owners, whatever bucket you fit in. And as we head into 2025, stay tuned for episodes that will dive deeper into the AI tools, the technology tools, into the stories behind some of those experiences that we create, as well as into strategies to help you thrive not just in the event industry, but in general as a professional, mentally, physically, emotionally. Together, we'll keep pushing the boundaries of what's possible. We'll keep embracing innovation and build a supportive, resilient community. And I can't wait to share more insights, challenges, and stories from the front lines with you. So here's to a 2025 full of innovations, AI powered, and unforgettable events. Until then, stay inspired, stay creative, and keep demystifying events. I'll see you next year on Events Demystified podcast.
Thank you for listening to the Events Demystified podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, please share it with other professionals like yourself. If you're interested in learning more about TreeFan events, including our future AI education talks and workshops, or to see how we can support your next event, book a free 20-minute consultation through the link in the episode notes. Don't forget to subscribe to the podcast and follow us on YouTube, Spotify, and social media for updates on future episodes, industry insights, AI news and tips, and more. And if you have any topics you'd like us to cover, feel free to reach out.